Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode with Simply Susan, where we explore historical sewing, cooking, and living. Today we're going to jump right into the second part of our video on the 1898 Victorian walking skirt. Here I'm showing you about the skirt hem facing. The pieces were cut out of the fashion fabric, which I chose a red canvas, and the liner, which in this case was a black broadcloth. The pattern pieces assemble very simply. They were flat lined, so basically you put the two pieces together and treat them as one for the rest of the construction. Pattern pieces were labeled very nicely with the letters and just sewed together in, the order of the alphabet. We are back at the ironing board, and I'm going to try to talk through what I did over lunch today, my break from work. So what I did here was, the very first thing I did, this is the top of the skirt, this is the waistband. We are working on getting the waistband attached. So I ran, there we go. You can see I have 3 strands here. I ran a quick gathering thread, this center one that's a lot bigger. I ran a gathering thread along the top of the skirt before the waistband was attached at all. What I did was I set my machine to the longest stitch length that was available, and I just zipped right across the top of the waistband really quickly here, so that these parts in the back, I was able to just sort of pull that up and get a really tiny little gathering. And then what I did was I took the waistband and matched the center fronts, okay? And then pinned it on with the space for the gathering. Then I went through and sewed my waistband on, and I actually sewed through it twice. I did it once at like 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then I did it the second time at the more proper, what it calls for at half an inch, 5/8. I think I did I did 5/8 on this. Certainly I did 5/8. So the reason I did that was just because I didn't trust myself to do it very well the first time. You can see a couple places where it bunched inside, but it's not bunched on the outside, so I'm not going to redo that. But I figured also the waistband's going to take more stress than some other parts of the garment, so I figured having a double seam wouldn't hurt, and you're not going to see that second one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press a very small edge here on my waistband, about 1/4 of an inch, and then we're going to fold it in half and press it. And then I'm going to decide whether I'm going to be lazy and sloppy and just sort of try to machine sew that, or whether I'm going to make the right choice and the right decision for making a long-lasting, wearable, usable garment and hand sew that in with a little whip stitch on the inside. I'm hoping that I have the ability to do the hand sewing. So yeah, send me positive thoughts. Hope that that's what you see in the next clip, that I did things properly. Time to try to pin the hem length for the skirt. I had my wonderful assistant come and help me with this because I would believe it would be nearly impossible to get the length correctly done without any help. You will meet him in some upcoming videos, but for now, just enjoy me trying to balance on the banister and get my skirt pinned. And then here is my hem facing, which is kind of covered in all sorts of strings and assorted debris and some starch residue, which, it's not supposed to flake. It says that on the bottle, but whatever. I didn't, who knows? We'll figure it out. It'll wash eventually. But, so what we're gonna do now, sew the hem facing to the bottom of the skirt like this. Then it gets flipped, and then this part will be, once again, blessedly hand sewn into the inside of the lining in here. So I'm going to take this to the machine. We're going to run this along and get the hem facing sewn on, and then flip it inside out, or flip it so that this goes inside. And then we will start the laborious process of doing approximately 1.3 miles of hand stitching or so. We'll see you back soon. Okay, so we went through and sewed this hem facing, the bright red, linty, cat hair covered canvas onto our skirt bottom, which also has quite a bit of cat hair, not surprisingly. What we are going to do next is we're going to go back to the machine and we're going to do a top stitch. So a top stitch is basically a reinforcing kind of stitch. A lot of times you'll see it along the neckline or maybe a cuff or something, because basically what we want to do is we want this to stay outside out, inside in, and we don't want this seam to kind of roll around or move around. The pattern doesn't explicitly say to do a top stitch, but I just kind of, I don't know, I guess I have this feeling that I think that would be a good thing to do. That'll give me a tiny bit of support here so that this bottom seam doesn't move too much. Okay, so official reveal of the Victorian walking skirt. We went through, worked through this project as best as we could together, and I have to say I am exceptionally pleased with how it turned out. There are definitely a few little things that I will alter in the future when I make this pattern again, because I think I definitely will make this again. But overall, I can't complain. I'm gonna step up here so you can see a little better. Okay, so this apparently is going to be my runway. You will get to see me attempt to balance on this ledge while standing in front of my rather aesthetic brick wall, but with a cat watching. But so this is the skirt. Now you can see it better in all better lighting and full view. So we do have a little bit of gathering back here. I wouldn't mind if there was a little bit more gathering, and I'm not sure about the way this placket is laying, but overall I don't think it's bad. And I like the movement it has. I like how it's a little bit swishy. And yeah, I'm gonna try to step down from here. Excuse me, Skittles. Excuse me. Can you? But a few of the little points on here that I would possibly change in the future. I did not put pockets in, and I know that everybody, that's a thing. I just was on a mission, had the seams done before I realized I hadn't done that, and I wasn't going back. I can always put pockets in at a later time if I feel like it, but for right now, I'm okay. The hem facing definitely did not turn out great. I am a horrible hand sewer. This material was absolutely miserable to try to sew and only catch the lining. It's so thick, I couldn't really hold it taut in my hand. So that's why the next time that we do this, we are going to try to change the way we do the hem facing just a little bit, see if we can tweak it, make it a little bit more user-friendly and just a little bit better in general. So that's one thing. But yeah, other than that, I think this turned out really well. I'm very pleased with the quality of construction that I managed to achieve. And yeah, I'm overall pleased with the finished item. And this is definitely a skirt that I think is one that you could wear pretty universally and be doing a little bit of a history bound, but not being too obvious in the way that you're doing it, that you would stand out and take focus off of whatever event you're attending that you would be wearing this to. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Thank you for following along as we tried to recreate the truly Victorian 1898 walking skirt. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video if you did like it. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think. I would love to hear what you think about the way this skirt turned out, and if you have any suggestions for things I could do to improve on it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!